Hey there, BookTube. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing the currently reading tag. I haven't really done much on my BookTube channel in a while. I've been participating in readathons. I've been enjoying the summer, and so I thought that I would do a tag just to say hey, what's up, and maybe this will be our reintroduction to each other. So today I'm doing the currently reading tag, and this tag was originally started by Charlie Rainhorse, I think her name is. The currently reading tag, it has 11 questions. Without further ado, here are my 11 answers to the questions. The first question in the currently reading tag is, how many books do you usually read at once? I don't read nonfiction in start on page 1 and go until page 200 in one sitting. Usually I read a couple of pages, I stop, I do other things, I read other books, I come back, I read some more, I let the message or the story resonate in me, let it affect me, I study it, I think about it, I have conversations about what I'm reading, and then I come back and I read some more. I do that for nonfiction reads. For fiction, I could read a book from cover to cover in one sitting. Sometimes if the book is short, if I have a long time, or if it's a really riveting book that I started just before I went to bed and I realized that I can't go to bed until I know how the story ends. On my iPad or on my phone, I'll be reading a galley or an arc from NetGalley or something, or I'll download a Kindle version of a book, a novel, some indie published book or something. So I'll usually be reading a print fiction, an electronic fiction, and a nonfiction read. So generally, I'm currently reading 3 books. Question number 2 says, if you're reading more than 2 books at a time, how do you decide when to switch from one book to another? I read my electronic version when I'm out, when I'm traveling, but when I'm home, I'm usually reading my print book. So how do I decide? My location kind of determines where I read. I try to read some nonfiction every day. So I make time in the morning. Fiction is just fun. It's research. It's to help me develop as a writer, develop my own writing skills. And so I make time to read that, but switching from one book to another, I don't say, okay, I have to finish on a chapter. I stop when I can. If I'm so wrapped up in a story, then I don't want to stop. Sometimes there's no switching between books because I'll just read it until it's done. So that's that. Question number 3 is a little strange for me. It asks, do you ever switch bookmarks while you're partway through a book? I don't often use bookmarks. I shouldn't say that. For bookmarks, I use whatever is available. I could use a Post-it, I could use a piece of paper, I could use a candy wrapper, I could use another book, I could use a piece of string. I'll use whatever I have to mark the page because I just need to have something to mark my page. I don't use bookmarks unless I have a bookmark around. I try to put a bookmark in my book before I start, but sometimes I just forget. As to changing my bookmarks around, no, I don't do that. I know there are probably people who are very into bookmarks and collecting bookmarks. I collect them, I just don't use them. So no, I don't switch bookmarks between different pages, different perspectives for like books that have multiple perspectives. That I don't do that. Question number 4, where do you keep the book you're currently reading? In my purse, because I usually have it with me. I keep it on my bed or on my nightstand during the day. If I'm not taking my book with me, it will be on my nightstand or on my bed. It will be in my purse if I'm traveling because I want to have time to read it, or just lying around. I don't know. Question number 5, what time of day do you spend the most time reading? I read nonfiction in the morning. I read fiction usually in the afternoon or at night, mostly at night. If the story is very interesting, that half an hour that I set aside to read before I go to bed could really turn into 2 hours or 3 hours because I don't want to put the book down until I'm done with it. So question number 6 is very similar. How long do you usually read in one go? I will read short spurts during the day. I'll read whenever I can. When I get 20 minutes here, 10 minutes here. If I'm cooking and I'm waiting for something to boil, I'll take my book out and I'll read for 10 minutes. But at night, that reading burst could be hours long. I just read until I'm tired. I read until I know that, okay, Karen, you have to go to bed now. You have to go to bed. I'll put it down. Question number 7 is really easy. Do you read hardcovers with the dust jackets on or off? I read my hardcovers with the dust jackets on. I might take it off to look at it, but I'm not really keeping it off for any long period of time. I'm not obsessed with how my book looks. I think that it's okay for a book, a well-loved book, to look a little worn. So I'm not obsessed with like trying to keep the dust jackets in pristine condition. I like having the dust jacket on. Why would you take the dust jacket off to read it? Doesn't it? If you're because it gets torn? Okay, I don't know. I read with my dust jackets on. Then question number 8, which position do you mainly use to read? A lying position. If we were to tally up my time spent reading, most of my time is spent either on the couch reading or in my bed reading at night, and so I'm usually sitting down and reading. If it's like a nice afternoon and I go to the park to read, I'll still be sitting down on the grass, maybe lying on a blanket or something and reading. So kind of works out to be the same. Sitting comfortably, reclining in a couch, or lying down. Question number 9 is really easy. Do you take the book you're currently reading everywhere you go? Yes, absolutely yes. You never know when you'll get a spare half an hour between, like say you're waiting for someone, you have some time to read. Why not have the book with you so you can read it? Question number 10, how often do you update your currently reading stats on Goodreads? I will put that I am currently reading a book on Goodreads once I've started reading the book. If I don't finish the book in that day, I might go back at the end of the day and just update my progress. But quite often, I don't go back to Goodreads until I'm finished with the books. Frequently, I don't go back to Goodreads until I'm finished reading the book, and that's when I'll check off that I've finished. That's when I'll put in my star rating. That's when I'll write a little review. That's when I'll update it. If I started a book and there's been a few days have passed without me finishing the book, I'll make sure to go on Goodreads so that I've updated my progress. So it's not like just hanging there like I'm still at 0 or I'm still at the first page. It will reflect that I have actually read something. But that happens when I am not reading at my usual speed or my usual pace. So often when that happens, it means that I am ready to move on to another book and just like kind of let this one sit for a little while. The 11th question, which has nothing to do with my currently reading, is who do I want to tag? I want to tag you. If you haven't done the currently reading tag yet, then do it. Charlie Rainhorse, she started it in March 2015. It is now August 2016. So I'm thinking most booktubers who've been on BookTube for at least that long would have already known about the tag. And since I'm still new to BookTube, I don't know if you've done the tag or not. So if you haven't and you think it's interesting, then go ahead and do it. Just tell them you've been tagged by Run Riot Reads. Tell them Karen sent you. So that's my currently reading tag, and I am now going back to reading. Today is the last day of the Bowder Books readathon, and I still have one entire book to read. So since it's the currently reading tag, I'll tell you what book I'm currently reading. It is The Problem with Forever by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I have never read any books by her, but this week for the Bowder Books readathon, I was trying to read a lot of young adult fiction. Just trying to get familiar with some of the books and some of the authors that a lot of booktubers talk about. So that's my currently reading tag, and I will see you next time. Talk to you later.